Hey guys, Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. And today I'm going to help you get ready for change. You know, we've been living through an unprecedented time of change right now with every company in the world making changes to stay competitive in the COVID-19 environment. But long before COVID-19 happened, there are a lot of businesses no longer in business because they refuse to change. Kmart, Kodak, Blockbuster, MySpace, Radio Shack, just to name a few. So stay tuned and let's make sure that you don't end up being the next Blockbuster as we talk about getting you ready for change. All right, I want to talk about 6 ways to get ready for change. Number 1, just like everything else, you've got to create a plan. A vital component of successfully managing change in your business is to create a plan and formulate goals that you want to achieve through the changes that you make. The plan must take into account every aspect of your business, and you need to spell out what the final goal is. Develop the required strategies to get there and apply them to every functional aspect of your business. So, how's it going to apply to accounting, to marketing, to HR, personnel? You know, the plan has to include a gradual, step-by-step process and order to lessen risk and correct unexpected errors of consequence as you go along, while at the same time, you don't want to impede the free flow of change. So first off, make sure the plan addresses the reason for the change. What's the goal? What are you seeking to accomplish in the end? Are we improving communication flow? Are we addressing staff performance gaps? Are we trying to improve our use of technology to save time or be more efficient? Is the bottom line simply reaching more customers? That ultimate goal has to be stated as part of the plan to introduce change. You never, ever want to just change for the sake of change. All right, number 2 on my list is handle resistance. Anytime staff or employees are coping with change, their natural inclination is to want to go back to the good old days. It's natural for them to want nothing to change. You cannot pretend that resistance will go away on its own. In fact, draw it in the open. Don't be afraid to make it public by inviting voices of resistance to speak out and to speak up. You may find it very difficult to do something like this, but put your pride aside. Just listen for a little while. Don't take it personal against you, but they have legitimate concerns and questions, and they should be heard and answered. Look, there's no way you can really handle resistance if you don't understand what's behind it. The only way people will ever trust you to lead them to change is when you understand what their reservations are and the reasons behind them. Number next is accept trends. The small business owner has to be aware of cultural shifts or trends that are going to have an effect on your organization. Whether it's dealing with trends which mean your customer preferences are changing or trends in the workforce, you're not going to be able to reverse these trends. They're too big. They're sometimes happening on a national cultural scale, and you'll experience those same changes in your organization. COVID, it's literally changed the way the world does business. It's changing every sector of society, education, transportation, eating habits. Nothing hasn't been changed now that this virus is so widespread. In fact, the most common phrase I hear these days is, Because of COVID, we can't. And man, it just aggravates me to, never mind. I digress. Look, when customers change from sending checks through the mail to using an app, you have to be ready to accept that change. If customers prefer to communicate by text rather than phone call or email, you better embrace it. Because if you don't, they'll find a competitor who does. I embraced texting with customers over 10 years ago. A friend of mine, Ron Musgraves, convinced me to do more texting with clients. And I thought it was nuts, just absolutely crazy. It's too personal, I said, and I thought. But he taught me how to not to abuse it, how to make it convenient for the client. And all I can say is he was right. Clients loved it, even 10 years ago. So, 10 years ago, I immediately started putting call or text on every piece of marketing or advertising medium I had. Today, you see it pretty much everywhere. Everybody's putting it on everything now. When a newer customer service database emerges with more tools than you can use, you're going to have to be ready to take a look at it and perhaps abandon the old one and transfer all the data into the new one, because it's going to improve your service and the way your company performs. Here's just a few cultural shifts that you need to be aware of and to adjust to in the way you do business. People are becoming more and more concerned about the environment, the planet, and how products and services that they consume affect the carbon footprint. 5G is here to stay, so people can get their products, services, and information even faster now. The membership model is gaining traction. People are more conscious of their health, and smart homes and cameras are everywhere now. So a little advice, and you better remember this. Be aware that sometimes customers are watching you clean their property on their phone. Hey, you know what? Do me a favor. Take a second and hit pause. Go down to the video description and leave me a comment about some recent customer trend that you're aware of which has affected your business. And then we'll move on to number 4. Hey, if this video is helping, pull the trigger on the like button for me and make sure to subscribe and keep up with new content. And leave me a question or a comment if you don't mind. I love answering questions. Well, those that I can, and helping to get you new guys started in this business. All right, so the 4th way to get ready for change is to negotiate tension. Anytime you implement change, you can expect the culture of your company to experience tension. Tension arises as change occurs because there's healthy and temporary disagreement. When tension is negotiated well, the team experiences a positive outcome, but tension can become conflict that is unhealthy and permanent, which in the end produces negative outcomes. If tension turns into heated conflict, it has to be removed for the organization to succeed. Negotiating our teams through tension means we have to challenge people, which is never fun. We have to challenge their thinking, their attitudes, and their emotional responses. We can never negotiate tension in an aggressive manner, but rather kind confidence, clear communication. Successful leaders experience a relational shift in their management style from pleasing people to challenging people. You're never going to succeed at implementing change in your organization by pleasing people and ignoring tension. I want to provide a few concepts that are required for you to negotiate tension through seasons of change. You're not going to be able to please everyone. You won't be able to make everyone happy. If you're the one that has to be liked, you have to have everyone like you, agree with you, think highly of you. you'll never succeed in implementing real change. Thinking this way, it just sets you up to fail. As tension increases from changes being made, good leaders always challenge people to rise to the occasion, to become better, and to achieve more. There are some people, they're just never going to come on board. They're never going to change their mind. They're never going to adjust to change. So you've got to accept that the greatest leaders in the world, like, say, Steve Jobs or Tom Brady, they couldn't even get some people to change their minds. So, in some cases, generally about 25% of the people you lead, they're a lost cause. Forget about it. There's nothing you can do. You might want to cut your losses and just terminate the relationship. Remember, we talked previously about firing customers? On the other hand, there's the other 25% or so who are all in, right? They love it. They're right there with you. They'll storm hell with a water pistol for you. And then there's about 50% of the folks in the middle who will end up being influenced either way. So listen carefully. The big trick is convincing and enlisting the 25% who are with you and completely on board. That'll help convince the other 50% who are open to change. You alone will never be able to do it solo. But if you have a team of people buying into change and embracing the new future vision you are casting, they become the influencers. They become the persuaders. They become your key allies in negotiating tension during days of change. You can bang your own drum, but it always helps to get others to bang it for you. Always remember to negotiate tension through seasons of change by challenging people to rise above themselves and pursue a greater goal together. All right, the fifth way to get ready for change is to galvanize towards greatness. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to read Jim Collins' book, Good to Great. Good to Great by Jim Collins. If you haven't, make sure that you read it. He starts his book with a very simple quote. Good is the enemy of great. This really hit a nerve with me because I have seen in my own life seasons where I just settled for good, you know. It's easy to get stuck in a rut when you're in a pressure washing business. It can be very routine, very repetitive, and it's natural in this business to sort of adopt a good enough mindset, good enough for government work type thing. So you need to make a shift in your mindset from doing what's acceptable to doing what's exceptional. I want you to remember that. Shift your mindset from doing what's acceptable to doing what's exceptional. There isn't any reason why you can't take your good pressure washing business and turn it into a great exterior cleaning business. But only if you can successfully lead yourself and your organization to embrace and implement change. So throughout your career, when you're tempted to shy away from new equipment, checking out new software, seeing what a new marketing strategy might look like, paying actual money for education versus trying to get it all for free, stop doing the acceptable, start going for the exceptional. If you shy away from that because you're afraid of change, you're afraid of a challenge, afraid of something new and different, you've got to stop and remind yourself that you're galvanizing your business toward greatness. You have to create a culture in your organization where people don't just tolerate change. They get excited about change because they know it will take them from good to great. So the last step to get ready for change is to empathize as you communicate. As you deal with change and prepare for communication with staff, always try to be empathetic. Remember, ask yourself what it would be like if you were in their shoes. If you were receiving what you're communicating, what would you be thinking about and how would you feel? You know, a very good friend of mine is Willie Rice. He's the pastor of Calvary Baptist Church in Clearwater, Florida. It's the church he and I both grew up in. I remember one time, a few years ago, he said, people aren't opposed to change. People are opposed to losing something. So empathize and communicate about what the dissenter or dissenters are losing and help by leading them to overcome that. Your personality or your leadership style may cause you to sit on any relevant news or information regarding change in your company. Perhaps you believe that you're protecting your staff from stress, or maybe you think change will reverse itself, so why bother? Perhaps you think clear communication about changes will be disruptive to the organization, but I'm here to tell you, the longer you put off communicating with your staff about change, the more likely the entire business will suffer. Rumors will start, morale will decrease, and the sense of trust that the staff places in you and each other, it will erode. So don't be avoidant when it comes to communicating with staff about change. If anything, over-communicate. Don't under-communicate. Over-communicate. All right, I'm going to get real personal here for a second. I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe he's alive, and he's my personal Lord and Savior. I also believe he's the author of change. I know this from my own life and how he changed me completely, 100% from the man I used to be to the man I am now. I'm not bragging that I'm a perfect human being because I am far from it. But I do know, had I not resisted his urgings to change my life earlier, I would not have missed out on so many blessings he had for me. So remember, whether in your business, your family, your personal life, consider that change may just be from God himself, leading you to not only a greater relationship with him, but with your family, clients, everyone you come into contact with. Change is inevitable. Change is constant. A business professor at Harvard Business School says it this way: successful companies develop a culture that just keeps moving all the time. Warren Buffett said, it's in a chronically leaking boat, energy devoted to changing vessels is far more productive than energy devoted to patching leaks. And of course, Tony Robbins, by changing nothing, nothing changes. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're motivated to embrace and adapt to change. Otherwise, your company will end up like the dozens of now defunct companies in this video that didn't make it because they weren't ready for change. Hey guys, don't forget I've got a great online video school at pressurecleaningschool.com. Over 270 training videos. You also have the option to take tests on roof cleaning, house washing, concrete cleaning, and property protection. Get a certificate printed out for your educational use, also for customers, for your website. Get a listing on our directory listing for certified contractors. Just go to pressurecleaningschool.com. There's a listing there of all the videos. You'll click up the top online video school and you can see all the videos and the titles and all of that. It's about 8 years old. I was the first to ever come out with an online video school, so just ton of content that I've posted there over the years. Thanks again, guys. Y'all have an awesome day.